Magyanatimirandasya Gyananjala Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Yam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Utaparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we will continue with reading from Bhagavad-gītā as it is from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, founder-ācārya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And I will skip now fear from sinful reactions, and we will look on destruction of family tradition. I have found particular reason for that. And last time we were speaking about the desire for enjoyment, that how Arjuna was thinking that one of the things was that Krishna is meant for him, for his enjoyment. So we realize that Krishna is not for our enjoyment, it's just the opposite, that we are for enjoyment of his senses. So yes, today we look on Shlokas 37 to 43. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobho pahata chetasaha kulakshaya kritam dosham mitradroha chapatakam katam nagyeyam asmabhih papat asman nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbhir janardana. Yadi, if api even ete they na do not pashyanti, see lobha by greed, upahata empowered, chetasaha their hearts, kulakshaya in killing the family, kritam done, dosham fault, mitra drohe in quarreling with friends, cha also patakam sinful reactions, katam vai na should not, gyeyam be known, asmabhihi by us, papat from sins, asma these, nivartitum to cease, kulakshaya in the destruction of a dynasty, kritam done, dosham crime, prapa shyadbhihi by those who can see, Janardana or Krishna. Translation: O Janardana, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Purport: A Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such an obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight, because he had been challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight. So here is very interesting thing. Arjuna is seeing what the other party is doing. He's pointing out on their faults or mistakes, that they don't see what they are doing. And in this way, he is trying to cover his own interests, in his own selfishness, by saying that he can foresee what will happen and like that he's more knowledgeable and more elevated. So he's just, by this statement, he's just covering his another motives, why he doesn't want to fight. So it's basically this intention. And we can see also that someone is challenged when he has to do some progress or to step out of the comfort zone, or even if somebody is pointed out that he has some mistake, usually the reaction is that he's pointing out on the other mistakes. So this is one of the natural behavior of conditioned souls, that they don't accept that they might be wrong or mistaken or at some fault. So we usually try to defend ourselves, to defend our position of our false ego. So we can see again the false ego is coming out here. Okay. 1 to 39. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kula dharma sanatanaha dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo bhavatyuta. Kulakshay, in destroying the family, pranashyanti, become vanquished. Kula dharmaha, the family traditions, sanatanaha, eternal dharma, religion, nashte, being destroyed. Kulam, family, kritsnam, a whole, adharmaha, irreligion, abhibhavati, transforms, uta, it is said. Translation: with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Purport: in the system of the varnashrama institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance for spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder members of the family be slain. So yes, this is also very common, that usually the elder members are trying to keep these traditions. And we can see now that the younger generations are less and less interested. But the reason for this is also that the elder members, they don't explain why they are keeping these traditions. They don't explain the philosophy which is behind it, because they already lost also this philosophy usually. So children, very often they ask this question, why I should do this, why I should do that. Not early in the childhood, but a little later, they are trying to understand also what is going on. They're asking these questions, and if the parents or some other elders don't know how to answer, then no, for the children it doesn't have much value, because it's just repeating something and he doesn't know why, so they lose interest gradually. But here, of course, is different case. It is about annihilating the members who would know also what is the reason for all these traditions, because this Vedic education was still there. They were still aware of the philosophy also, not only of some rituals. Adharmabhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha strishu dushtas varshneya jayate varna-sankara. Adharma, irreligion, abhibhavat, having become predominant, Krishna or Krishna, pradushyanti, become polluted, kulastriyaha, family ladies, strishu, by the womanhood, Dushtasu, being so polluted, Varshneya, or descendant of Vrishni, Jayate, comes into being, varna-sankara, unwanted progeny. Translation: when irreligion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, or descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Purport: good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varnashrama religion's principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashrama system. On the failure of such Varnashrama dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. So, the question is, why this unwanted children would cause this degradation? The reason is, if the samskaras are not done, especially Garbhana samskara, which is very planned, very scientific activity for begetting the children. And usually this doesn't happen when men and women are freely mixing, and in this way there is basically no planning at all, so no way of doing these samskaras. So that's why when these samskaras are missing, then this degradation happens. And the thing is also, because these samskaras are not performed, the children are not steady. They also don't know very much neither material identity nor spiritual identity. Because by this samskaras, usually they are also very clear in what's their purpose of life, material, also spiritual. Like their varna, for example, they are not... now, this varna-sankara or this unwanted progeny basically means that varnas are mixed. We can easily see that we have all four varnas in one person, and then this person is very confused what is his duty. He is also very unpredictable in his activities, because in one time he thinks like Kshatriya, then he thinks like Vaishya, then maybe like Shudra. So in this way, he is also suffering for him, because he doesn't know where to concentrate, where to focus his energy, and also for others, because they don't know what to expect from them. So no one is definitely benefiting from this. So that's the reason why these samskaras were performed, and also it was observed that also varnas were not very much mixing. I mean, not by birth, but by qualities. Yes. Generally, people don't know about Garbhana and Samskara. Yeah. In India, maybe they know, but in the West, not at all. That I can confirm that in the West, nothing like this exists. Maybe there is in very, very traditional families, And not even now, in the past, there was maybe some planning. At least they were not mixing before marriage or like that. But still, there was no elaborate samskara for procreation. And I don't know how is it in India. I thought that some awareness might be there even in this at least in these very traditional families, but I'm not sure. So devotees are starting to know, but also among the devotees, they still don't consider it very important. Many people comes to the contact with scriptures and believe it. Yeah, so only from scriptures, yes. Yeah, that's true. Otherwise, there is no way. Only those who continue the Vedic education, they can know something about it. So that's why Prabhupada basically wanted to make this cultural revolution. He's saying this in Srimad Bhagavatam, that we are supposed to make this revolution. We should implement again varnashram system, again all these samskaras, and over generations. It will take few generations to again purify, and people will be more fixed in their varnas also. It doesn't come like immediately, but it needs some generations to practice this also. And then we can see how the next children, if these samskaras are performed, they will be more and more fixed in their occupation, in their duties. So yes, like that. So that's why we should spread also this awareness of these samskaras and of their importance. And also we have to understand ourselves what is the reason for these samskaras, what is the benefit. Because generally people would want all these benefits, but since they don't know even of these benefits, so they are not interested in samskaras also. If they knew that their children can be fixed in their occupation, they don't have to even leave their home place, or what else is there? Even some samskaras, there can be decided whether the child will be male or female. So there's so many things which can be done. But people are not aware even on these benefits. So this is important to understand. Those who are complete material mode, they don't accept, they are ignorant, yeah. Mm-hmm. In fact, yeah, there is a reason for it. And also Srila Prabhupada, he wrote a letter in 1949. I think it was 49 or 47, I'm not sure. But usually this time, he wrote a letter to Deputy Prime Minister of India, where he was presenting his program for uplifting of society. And there were 4 levels of this development of society. And first level was chanting of the holy name, Harina movement. So this is the first thing people should start to do. And that's why we are spreading the chanting of the holy names. And second one was temple entry movement, which means people start to act according some rules and regulations, to do some deity worship and attend the temple functions. The third one was initiation movement. So after they are a little bit fixed in this practice, in this sadhana, so they take initiation and become more serious. And when they take into initiation, this is basically, second initiation is substitute for all these samskaras, because it also purifies. After second initiation, devotees should usually understand what is their varna. Their consciousness should be so pure that it is much more clear for them what is their duty or occupation, what is their nature. So that's why Prabhupada offered this solution, that with second initiation, it's quite stable personality, and then it comes varnashram system to implement this culture. So varnashram system is after all these three things, meaning chanting the holy name, attending the temple programs, and then taking initiation. So yeah, then people are taken out of these material modes, and they can really implement the varnashram system. And from this position also, they can implement it with their children also. So children can start, they don't have to wait for for chanting and initiations like that. They can start from the beginning with all these samskaras. But to keep or to maintain varnashram dharma or varnashram system is not easy if we are not fixed ourselves. So that's why this initiation is helping us. So yes, that's the Prabhupada's solution, how he proposed it to the prime minister. But of course, at that time, basically all these dignitaries or those who were in high government positions, they were ignoring him in India. So he was quite frustrated all the time with any communication he was having with those people, and that's why he ultimately decided to start in the West, or he was pointed to this direction sooner or later to go there. Yeah. So like this. Yeah, so basically it applies. It doesn't apply only to women. Chanakya Pandit is speaking about women, but now also the men are on the same level, because nobody is in the higher varnas. So up to the level of Vaishyas, there is still passion and ignorance. And Shudras are only ignorant, so that's not surprised that they are not accepting these things, because we don't have these higher varnas very much prevalent or present. That's why Prabhupada started to train Brahmanas, and then also he wanted to train Kshatriyas and continue like this. Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, yeah. It's very strange that India is a secular country. It has so much, spiritual tradition. So it's very, very unfortunate like this. Yeah. Okay, we move on. 41. Sankaro narakāyaiva kulagnānam kulasyacha patanti pitaro hiesham lupta pindo dakakriyāha. Sankaraha, such unwanted children, narakaya, make for hellish life. Eva, certainly, kulagnānam, for those who are killers of the family. Kulasya, for the family. Cha, also, patanti, fall down. Pitaraha, for fathers. He, certainly. Esham, of them, lupta, stopped. Pinda, of offerings of food. Udaka, and water. Kriyaha, performances. Translation. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestor of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly and other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. This stated in the Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutaptandinam pitrinam nakinkaronayam rinicha rajan sarvatmanayak charanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, yes, so one of the duties in the varnashrama system is to take care of forefathers also by offering them remnants of food which was offered to Lord Vishnu. And this can release them from various reactions from their sinful activities. Some of them may have ghostly forms and like that. So by offering them this prasadam, they can be liberated from this condition and can acquire again the human form of life even. That's also true for lower forms of life like animals. So even if animals are eating prasadam, they in the next life they are becoming the human beings, human form, and then they don't have to go through all the evolution of these animal forms until they come to the human form of life. So this is a very powerful thing which can save people from degradation. That's also why we distribute prasadam to, even if they don't make it, they still can continue in a human form of life in the next life. But we hope that in this life they can make as much progress as possible. I have also a story on this. I heard from one Maharaj. He was saying that when people are not offering this pinda to their forefathers, so the forefathers are they are in the Pitri Loka. So basically they are degrading, or like their bodies are becoming more ugly and worn out and like that. So ultimately they don't look very nice. And also what is happening that they also are becoming quite angry on their descendants that they don't take care of them. So they are basically developing the enmity towards their family of their children or grandchildren like that. And that's the reason why with all these emotions and bodily transformations, those forefathers are becoming Yamadutas, and Yamadutas are really not very nice by like in a visible way, and also they are quite angry on those who are sinful because of that, because they are not giving them any food, they are not taking care of them. So that's why this anger. So when Yamadutas come to take someone, they really don't deal nicely with him. So it's just, there is just this natural reaction. If we neglect something, what it causes, the other reactions, and then it is coming to us back again. And it's amazing, like it is interconnected, all these things. So yeah. So hopefully we will not need to meet any Yamadutas. I have also another story regarding Yamadutas, that there was a theater when where Yamadutas were complaining to Yamaraj that all these people, they all are chanting and they all reading Bhagavatam and hearing the lectures and doing kirtans and dancing and doing deity worship and preaching. So now we don't have any business to do. So what we should do? So it was this kind of nice prediction of future that Yamadutas would become jobless because of everyone's Krishna consciousness. So stories are also on the other side, not only about degradation, but also about improvement. Okay, 142. Doshareta kulagnanam varna-sankara karakaihi utsadyante jati dharmah. Wow. Kula dharmascha shashvataha. Doshai, but such faults, etai, all these kulagnanam, of the destroyers of the family, varna-sankara, of unwanted children, karakai, which are causes, utsadyante, are devastated, jati dharmaha, community projects, kula dharmaha, family traditions, cha also, shashvataha, eternal. Translation: by the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Purport: community projects for the four orders of human society combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of Sanatana Dharma or Varnashama Dharma are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of the Sanatana Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in that society, and consequently people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into chaos. Yeah, so it's natural. If leaders are failing in their duties, then all the society ultimately breaks down. Then Dharma is not followed, so all these supporting activities are no longer executed, and then everything is degrading. Yes. 143. Utsanakula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatitya nushruma. Utsana, spoiled kula dharmanam, of those who have the family traditions, manushyanam, of such men, Janardana, or Krishna, Narake, in hell, Niyatam, always, Vasaha, residence, Bhavati, it so becomes, iti dus, Anushruma, I have heard by disciplic succession. Translation: O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed will always in hell. Purport: Arjuna based his argument not on his own personal experience, but on what he has heard from the authorities. That is the way of receiving real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of actual knowledge without being held by the right person who is already established in the knowledge. There is a system in the Varnashrama institution by which before that one has to undergo the process of atonement for his sinful activities. One who is always engaged in sinful activities must utilize the process of atonement called prāyaścitta. Without doing so, one surely will be transferred to hellish planets to undergo miserable lives as the result of sinful activities. Yeah. so important thing what Arjuna is mentioning here, that he is hearing from the cyclic succession. So there's the authorized way how to get the knowledge, to get it from a succession of teachers who pass down this knowledge without any adulteration, without any changes as it is. Yes, and also here is mentioned prāyaścitta. Prāyaścitta is really meant for those people who are engaged only in varnashrama, not in devotional service, because for devotees, prāyaścitta is not necessary. Just and also, I think will be in other book. Prāyaścitta is also not very much purifying. It's just it's not improving the heart. It's just cleaning the mess, but we will still produce that mess again if we do just prāyaścitta. But the chanting of the holy name has different effect, that it also cleans the heart. I mean, improves our behavior, so we don't pollute the heart again. So that's the difference. And so devotees have big advantage in this way. And also because of that, they don't need to perform prāyaścitta. So it is recommended only on those who are not engaged in devotional service. Okay, so that's it for today. Next time we'll do fear from sinful reactions, and there is one more shloka at the end, 46, which is not mentioned here. It's mentioned here, so that's why I intended to do it later. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai, Śrīmad Bhagavad-gīta ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivedanta ki jai.